Hello, hello. All right, so we are continuing our conversation about how the way we purchase food, we eat out at restaurants, the whole grocery store experience, how the impulsive nature of what we do there really affects our impulsive eating, okay? And we've talked a little bit about how we have to have a plan going into the grocery store because impulsive purchases in the moment often lead to overeating that day. And that's usually a big culprit for many people on why their calories spike up many times during the week. We also talked about restaurants and scarcity and how that can lead to overeating, and also by overthinking it versus not thinking it enough, right? We have those issues. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about what to do when you come home from the grocery store. So let's say you did buy the key lime pie. Let's say you did buy the ice cream. Let's say, you finally got those things. You did the 24-hour wait time. You didn't impulsively purchase it. Then when you come home, mission critical, and this is a lower brain thought that also leads to overeating, is one of, I can measure out my portion tonight, or I can measure out my portion later. Meaning that sometime you're kicking the can down the road, sometime later today, you're putting on the heavy lifting responsibility of making the right choice for the person who's going to consume the key lime pie, consume the ice cream, that they're going to have the discipline and willpower and the mental focus to weigh and measure the appropriate amount. And I'm going to call BS on that. Having been the person who kept doing that to my future self and seeing how dismally that worked, I say don't do that. Okay, you come home from the grocery store immediately, before you put the ice cream in the freezer, before you put the key lime pie in the refrigerator, cut everything up, set your future self up for success. In a perfect world, if Heather had her druthers, all foods that are highly palatable, high calorie, hard to manage would all be individually portioned. Because what I have seen time and time again in my now pushing 10 years of coaching individuals one-on-one and it being a full-time gig is that is hugely impactful. How your home environment is set up with your food that's highly palatable. I'm not talking about your apples and your oranges and all that. I'm talking about Doritos. I'm talking about ice cream. I'm talking about key lime pie. I'm talking about all those things, right? The way that those things are stored in your house affect how you eat them. So for example, you come home with the ice cream and you get 4 1-cup containers that Rubbermaid makes, and you portion out. You put on the food scale, 4 containers, boom, 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 everything's measured out, ready to go. Now you've got 4 1-cup portions already taken care of for the you that's gonna want it at 7 p.m. that night, right? If you put that off on the 7 p.m. you, that he or she is gonna be responsible and be able to pull that together after dealing with putting the kids down, full day of work, dealing with the drama in your personal life. I just know, statistically speaking, that's probably not going to happen. So my encouragement for everybody, you get back from the grocery store, number one, set your environment now up for success. Take those foods. If you have to buy the foods in multiple serving containers, pretzels, chips, whatever, have your little snack size, sandwich size Ziplocs or individual portion containers. Measure out 3 or 4 portions. Have your own little shelf where you keep all your stuff that's pre-measured, pre-weighed. Do not think that the version of you to come is going to navigate those highly palatable foods when you're tired, when you're emotional, when you're stressed, when it's the end of the day and you just want to relax. That's not the time to do it, okay? And please hear me on this, because if you start purchasing food differently and you start packaging food differently and you make these 2 consistent habits you do, one, you'll save a ton of money. My client was so funny. She's like, since working with you, she says, my calories have gone down, my impulse eating has gone down, but you know what else? My bank account is going up when it comes to my grocery budget, because she's not doing the impulse purchases anymore, right? So you'll increase your money for your groceries. You will start to notice an improvement on your calories through the week. Like, you won't see these spikes as much because you're making better informed decisions. And if you start to package this food as soon as it comes home, individual portions, you are setting your future self up for success. It's going to be so much easier for him or her to say, okay, I'm having 1 or 2 cups of ice cream. Because see, and I know that a lot of people will dismiss this one because they think, well, Heather, you can just measure out a cup of ice cream. But when psychologically, you know there's 4 containers of ice cream and each one is a cup and each one represents 250 or 300 calories, there is a different process that happens in your mind when you reach for the second container. If you go to a half gallon and you scoop some out and you go, oh, I'm gonna go back for more, there is a disconnect that happens. And I can't explain exactly why this occurs, but it does. You don't see it the same way as a pre-portioned out 100 calorie bag of pretzels. When you go for the second one, you clearly know you're going for it. One trick that works really well for people who do like grazing, pre-package all this stuff. Say you want pretzels, but you don't want the whole bag, you just want a couple, right? Like that would be the lower brain chatter that would cause you to stick your hand into the bag. Oh, we just want a couple pretzels, we don't want a whole serving. It tells you all these insidious little fibs to get you to eat the food. But anyway, you can do that with your individual portion. You could take 1 or 2, you could track it that day. You could say, okay, I had a bag of pretzels, but let's say it takes you 5 days to eat it because you're just eating 2 or 3 today, 2 or 3 tomorrow. You could keep that behavior going, knowing that you actually fully tracked the 1 serving. And if it takes you 5 days to consume it, it takes you 5 days to consume it, right? So that's not something you have to worry about. But what our lower brain does is it tries to convince us, first off, this time will be different. Secondly, that we're just gonna do this thing this one time and it's not that big of a deal. If somebody is talking to you in your head, know that that's your lower brain, right? And that's what you want to be on high alert for. So this is why we set our future self up for success. If she doesn't have to think about it or he doesn't have to think about it, and you can go reach and get 1 bag of pretzels, 1 cup of ice cream, tracking and calorie accuracy go way up. And your thought process changes when it comes to, do I want to get a second one? Because you clearly know that second one's another 200-300 calories or another 100 calories, right? You're super clear on that. So I just want you to see the power of how you buy food and what you do with it when you get home really is a game changer if you handle these things differently. All right, I hope these videos are helpful. As new ideas pop in my head, I will definitely include them. You have a fantastic day, and if you need more help, you can always join me in the HSM Academy. We would love to have you there, halfsizeme.com/join. And if you would like to get consistent content from me, you can always become a subscriber to our podcast premium, halfsizeme.com/fan. All right, you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.